Frank.
Shabbat Shalom, friends.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. I am so completely overjoyed to be back with you, with my temple family, really my community. I just cry all the time. I know. Bob is like, please don't cry again. It's some of you may not know that I was gifted a short piece of sabbatical, and I was away for 8 weeks, and I missed you. And in that time, the plexiglass disappeared from my podium, and I'm so happy. I feel so free. And I want to thank you not only for being here to celebrate Shabbat with us, but thank you for helping us to continue to keep our community safe for, as we navigate our situation. And thank you for wearing masks. We're all going to do that. It enables us to be a little bit closer together. As you see, the rows are a little farther apart than usual, but our masks are our double protection. We have a member of our COVID advisory team, Dr. Heidi Appel, with us, and she's watching. We're going to get it right, Heidi, don't worry. And I heard you singing, and it was just so heartwarming because it was really hard to be in the sanctuary alone for so many months. And then we celebrated with lots of young people becoming bar and bat mitzvah, but we missed the community at large. So I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with my longtime friend, Cohen. Carol, who is a very gifted cantorial soloist, and you have led our services for many years as a partner with us, and thank you for being here. Thank you to you, Karen Kaplan, chair of our adult ed, co-chair of our adult ed, who will give us announcements. And a real highlight of this evening for many of us has been the presence of the architect who designed, took me a minute to find the right word, who designed the beautiful space that many of you have been walking around in the last 15 minutes. His name is Mike Halpern. He's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my hometown. He is the immediate past president of another Temple Road of Shalom. But sort of more importantly and close to our heart, Mike, we thank you for giving us a beautiful space. And I hope many of you were on the tour with Hannah Moore. And I have a feeling some of you might wander a little bit more. We won't stop you. Come again for the tour, on and off. In appreciation, we need so many opportunities to thank you, Michael. But in appreciation for all that you've done for us, the gift of your creative mind and spirit, and the way you embraced our community and got to know who we are asking if you would be so kind as to lead us in the lighting of Shabbat candles. We're on page 3. Now let's turn on the mic, if I can remember how. It's on? Okay, it doesn't sound like it's on, okay. Go for it. Oh, you can take off your mask if you want.
Really?
Yeah, we can see.
You want me to light them first?
Actually, read, light,
Okay.
sing. That's our order, yeah.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, l'tzivanu l'hadlik ner, l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We're going to continue with some songs, music to sort of let go, use it to kind of let go of this week and land here in the sanctuary and in the sacred time of Shabbat. Thank you, Carol, for leading us in Hine Matov on page 10, and then maybe we'll slip right into 16. Do we just go Hine Matov into Zamru?
Sure, we could do that.
You're going to, I know, okay. Page 10, Hine Matov.
Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is,
How sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is,
how sweet it is.
to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is,
How sweet it is.
to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad.
Page 16 at the top.
Zamru l'Adonai b'chinor, b'chinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotrot v'kol shofar. Hari lifnei hamelech Adonai. Zamru l'Adonai b'chinor, b'chinor l'kol zimra, b'chatzotrot v'kol shofar.
music is really the entry to prayer. In a moment, we'll come together for the formal beginning of our service, the call to worship, the Baruch Hu, but I want to invite you just maybe to take your own moment, to take perhaps just a deep kind of cleansing breath and think about just one thing you want to let go of from this week. Just give yourself a moment to get to the Baruch Hu. And when you're ready, feel free to stand, and eventually we'll sing together. The Ma'ariv Aravim is one of my favorite prayers. It speaks about the beauty of evening, and it's a beautiful evening. And while we often read it together in Hebrew, I want to invite you to read the English with me on page 31 at the top to kind of take in the connection to nature. And of course, days begin in the Jewish community in the evening. So it's a beginning, and let us welcome the evening at the top of page 31, reading together in the English. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the ways on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And from the evening and from all of nature, we sense a connection to each other and to the world, the connection of oneness that is articulated in the Shema. The Shema on page 35, we sing together.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam
Won't you please be seated and join us in chanting V'ahavta, page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol vavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'eleh Asher Anochi Mitzavacha Hayom Al Levavecha V'shinantam Levanecha V'dibarta B'ham V'shivtecha B'veitecha U'v'lechtecha V'derech U'v'shokbecha U'v'kumecha Ukshartam le'ot al yadecha והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. טפתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Our prayer book is a touchstone to our history and our values. And every week we sing the song of freedom to remind ourselves of that value and to return kind of to the journey that is a commitment to help others to be free. Micha Mocha is coming up. We have the beautiful poem in our prayer book before it, and it reminds us that we're really always crossing. We're always crossing over something, and we're also always on kind of a journey across something to a better, to a promised, to a mountain. And this poem captures that as well. It's on page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Let us sing that song of joining hands, singing, marching, dancing together, Micha Mocha.
ונאמר כי פרעוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
The next page brings us to the Hashkivenu, a prayer that asks for protection for those journeys across rivers and in deserts. And we hope, as the prayer on page 43 says, that we'll always be surrounded by people who, can support us. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace. and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And on the next page, the Song of Shabbat, every journey needs a moment of rest. This song raises that up. Let us sing together, Vishamru, the top of page 44. That was the first main section of our service, the Shema and its blessings. We come now to the Tefillah, also called the Amidah, which means standing. It's really important. It's full of values we care about. They're articulated in the prayers here. So won't you rise and join us on page 46 as we make our way chanting with Carol the first four prayers of the Amidah.
Adonai sefatat tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot b'ima'ot, u'mevi gula livnei bneihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך גאה גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית Machaye Umatmiak Yeshua V'ne'eman Ata L'Hayot HaKol Baruch Ata Adonai Mechaye HaKol Ata Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh Ukashishim B'Kol Yom Yahalalucha Selah Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Won't you please be seated? And at the top of page 55, let us read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch Ata Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. That the words we have prayed and spoken come to fruition. Ritzei is the prayer that asks that God find favor in the prayers we offer.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael. Ritzei
So beautiful, Carol. Thank you. On page 59, words of gratitude. We have so much to be thankful for. Being in good enough health to be together here. In safety, the sun shining, unfortunately, in some people's eyes, but it's here. Join me at the top of the page. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of the soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulacha ne'er lehodot. And a song of peace, something for which, when we experience it, we're most grateful. Shalom Rav, page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. Tasim, Tasim Leolam. We'll now have some silent prayer.
After that beautiful song of peace and some private time, we come together as a community, focusing on those people in the circle of our families and beyond who are in need of our support through our prayers for healing, and in hearing their names, inspiring us to reach out and support them. And we offer the traditional Misha Berach for a number of people, and I know you'll add other names. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sar Rivcha Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yivarech v'Yirapeh et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are ill, Alon ben Barbara, Hannah Esther bat Krendel, Hannah Leah bat Yosef Vehendel, Yehuda ben Fischel, Henry Botak, Benaiah Devar, Elizabeth Drabkin, Gail Gershman, Jamie Hecker, Martha Kelly, David Roby, and Dennis Stanley. We pray too for all those people who have been victims of violence here in our country, in Israel, all around the world, and those who, in service to our country, are in need of emotional, physical, and spiritual support and healing. And to these names, we add names of people you have brought with you to our service tonight as we go around in just a little extra volume to get past the mask. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is anyone here on this side? Michelle? Thank you. Thank you.
Jane Gutman.
May the Holy One be filled with compassion and cause their health to be restored and their strength revived, and may they be granted a complete healing of body, mind, and spirit. And let us all say, Amen. And let us join together in the singing of Misha Berach, which, sorry about the program, strange Xeroxing, I think it's not there, so I'm hoping you remember it. Before we come to the last section of our service, it's my fun pleasure to share a little bit from our summer theme. So for some of you who might be our guests or here for the first time in the summer or haven't been here this summer yet, you may remember that every summer for our Shabbatot that are casual and warm and all that, we have a summer theme. And we've done a million different things, right? We've talked about Pirkei Avot, and we've talked about holidays and Yiddish. And this year, our summer theme is Jewish humor. So I understand a number of people came up to me and sort of were, what jokes are you going to tell? So, I was excited. I mean, I was part of picking this theme, and I heard that my colleagues in the few weeks that we've been going on the theme have shared some really good topics on Yiddish jokes and the Catskills and vaudeville. And for me, when I was sort of coming to my time, Jewish humor and whatnot, my first go-to was, is there Jewish humor in the Bible? And I was surprised to find that no one started there. Shouldn't we have started there, right? So I said to myself, self, do some research. What does the Bible say about humor? Number one. Are there any good jokes in the Torah? Number two. Is God ever funny? Number three. And I thought you might enjoy going on this little journey with me. So the first question, what does the Bible say about humor? Well, although there are only a few dozen statements about laughter and humor, all of them, every one, is entirely, you won't be surprised, positive. Unfortunately, there aren't any specific texts about telling jokes per se, but as we all know, an abundance of Jewish humor, the art of telling jokes and shtick and all that stuff blossomed to an incredible amount in the Jewish tradition. It must have come from somewhere, and perhaps the Bible's openness to happy and lighthearted moments paved the road that led to the Borscht Belt at the Catskills. As we know, Judaism, broadly speaking, doesn't shy away from emotions. We face loss and sadness. We have plenty of stories for our ancestors about anger and about frustration, and we are certainly open to profound happiness, joy, and fun built in, lucky for us, to our tradition. We think about holidays and life cycle events, right? Think Purim. Think the ritual of entertaining the bride and groom at a wedding. Think games at Hanukkah. We are so lucky to be a tradition that at its core welcomes the spirit of joy. The Bible actually welcomes more than just happiness. It does actually welcome humor. I found that out, and I want to share with you a few of the statements that confirm that. So the first one you know really well. It's from Ecclesiastes. I'll start it off for you, and you'll get quickly to the right phrase. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to reap, a time to tear down, a time to build up, a time to cry, and a time to laugh. Ba-bing! A time to grieve and a time to dance. I know we all, I do, I love this piece of our liturgy, our text. It's so human, and it says that being whole includes laughter, because that whole spectrum is our life, and laughter is a part of it. There are some other good lines. There are a lot in the Psalms about the importance of joy and humor. In Psalm 126, in a bigger frame of talking about sort of Israel and finding its way to being a secure and successful society, the psalmist says, "Then," speaking about this time that will come, "our mouths will be filled with laughter and our tongues with joyful songs. Then the nations will say, Adonai has done spectacular things for them. And we will say, Adonai has done spectacular things for us. And we will be overjoyed." Happiness, laughter. Laughter's in that one. And then another place where you find a lot of quotes that sort of support laughing and humor is in the book of Proverbs, which, of course, giving us a lot of advice. In Proverbs 17, it says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine." Yeah, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength. A cheerful heart is good medicine. Watch funny movies, people. Here it is, right here in the text. And one of the favorite things that I also knew but hadn't made the connection to, there's a tradition of a quote from Proverbs called "a woman of valor." And in some traditional households, this is read to one of the women in the house, a woman of valor. This woman is praised up. Who can be found? And amongst the words that make her, a fabulous person, She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs. She laughs without fear, rejoicing in the prospect of the future. Laughter, it's part of being a complete person. It's part of being a great person. So I was so pleased to find that there are quite a number, I won't continue to read them, of texts supporting laughter and humor in the Torah. But what about the question, are there any good jokes in the Bible? Well, I'm pretty sure that Jerry Seinfeld, that the Marx Brothers, that Sid Caesar and Joan Rivers didn't build their careers from the routines of Abraham and Moses, unfortunately. Sadly, I haven't found any slapstick in the Torah, but there are some sort of funny moments. How about Genesis 18, where God informs Abraham and Sarah that they will have a son, and Sarah openly laughs and goes on to name her son Isaac, meaning laughter. Thinking in her own mind, you're kidding, right? I'm worn out. I'm 89 years old. That's right there in the story. I'm 89 years old, and now I'm going to rediscover sexual pleasure. Verse 11, I'm quoting. We learned that Abraham, who at this time is probably 99, also thought this was very funny. While the Torah doesn't say it explicitly, Abraham hears that Sarah will bear a child. We hear him saying to God, "Are you kidding?" Thus, the first biblical joke is born. There's another comedic routine that I think is worthy of this stage. It's on Mount Sinai. God and Moses are up there dealing with the Ten Commandments and whatnot, and Aaron and the Israelites are at the foot of the mountain, unfortunately, creating the golden calf. Now, at this moment, neither God nor Moses wants these rowdies at all. It's like a hot potato passing the responsibility of these miscreants back and forth. So God swaps first, telling Moses, those rebelling Israelites, they're your people. And Moses says, no way. He catches on quickly. They're your people. As far as Moses is concerned, it's all about God. God says, no, they're your people. And back and forth, they banter. It's serious in the text, but really, if you put the lens of something joyful, it's kind of a comedy scene. Back and forth they go in this routine until finally Moses wins the argument. But unfortunately, the whole story kind of ends badly, but that's for another sermon. There are a few more zingers in the Torah. The story of Judah and Tamar could be one of them. How about Balaam and Balak and the talking ass? I mean, how funny is that? Some people actually suggest that the story of Jonah has comedy in it, getting his directions wrong on the ship, God giving him a timeout in the whale, God joking with that gourd that comes and goes and comes and goes. Well, if there's humor there, Jonah certainly doesn't get it. Finally, the last question I was interested in, is God ever funny? Well, the short answer is not so often. I didn't come across too much, but I did find this one text that I had never really noticed from the book of 2 Chronicles, which is like stories of kings, in chapter 21. Listen in this short quote for the humor that God inserts in the story. This is the direct quote. Jehoram was 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years. Then he passed away, to no one's regret, and was buried in the city of David. I had a good chuckle from this little commentary embedded in this story. Evidently, Jehoram was not well liked, maybe not even to God. The editorial statement provides a light touch, comic relief, if you will, to the chronicler's usual routine of sort of formulaic kingship. So I guess the Bible does have a lighter side now and again. And it does seem that God likes to poke fun at times at other people's failures. This happens actually quite a lot in texts that come from the book of Psalms. In chapter 37, it says this: "The wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth at them, but God sits back and laughs. God laughs at the wicked, for God sees that their day is coming." Isn't that kind of fun, Hannah? I can see God letting out this little evil laugh. Ha ha ha! I'll get you, my pretty. This shows the impotence of the wicked and the futility of their plots and their gnashing against the righteous. God obviously gets a bit of a kick, some kind of sort of sick pleasure, knowing that they will eventually suffer. So the long and short of it is that the Hebrew Bible is very much in favor of joy and happiness and even laughter. There are a few comedy routines and perhaps a little bit of material for a stage show. And if you look hard enough within the stories we know well, there are even some lighter moments. Now, I heard that all the other clergy have been telling jokes on the bima. So I've got to, I got to keep up, right? So I'm going to share a couple one-liners that come right out of biblical stories. So that's how I pick the ones I'm going to, and they're kind of like those bad dad jokes that people, talk about. So, hang in there with me. Okay. See if you'll get some of them. Who's the greatest comedian in the Bible? Samson. He brought the house down. Da-dun-ching. Okay. If Goliath would come back to life today, would you like to tell him the joke about David and Goliath? Answer: no, he already fell for it once. Okay, here's another one. How do we know that God is a baseball fan? Because the Torah opens with the lines, "In the beginning." In the big inning. Oh. Okay. Why didn't Noah go fishing? He only had 2 worms. Two. Okay. Another no. Oh, I gave it away. Oh my God, I'm so bad at this. Who is the greatest financier in the Bible? Noah. He was floating his stock while everyone else was in liquidation. Okay, my last one. What did God say after he created Adam? I can do better than that. And so he created woman. With that, we close the chapter on humor and the Bible. Ba-dum-ching. Next week, back to the Borscht Belt, vaudeville, the Catskills, etc. Anyway, it was fun to have that exploration. We wanted the summer, after this very heavy year, to be light and joyful. So thank you for being a part of that with us. And now we return to our prayer books. As we come to the last section of our service, Aleinu L'Shabeach is on page 282. Please rise and join us as we chant together.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, Latet Gedula Liatzeh Bereshit, Shehu Noteh Shamayim Shechoyoser Haaretz, Umashav Yikaro Bashamayim Mimah, Ushechinatu Zo B'Govhei Meramim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, V'anachnu Korim, Umishtochavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch.
We go right into the next thing. Won't you please be seated? The last official prayer in our service is, of course, Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's prayer. Beginning on page 288, and for a number of pages, there's some readings, there's some meditations, there's some poems. Won't you take your own time to pick one that speaks to you? We hope the moment will be one that helps prepare our mourners who are here with us for their recitation of Kaddish Yatom. Before we share the names of our yahrzeit, our shloshim, we do extend our condolences to members of our congregation who have had losses in the last day or two, to Sarah Jacobs on the death of her aunt, Carmela Barletta, and to Paula Goldstein on the death of her mom, Toby Suskind. And we extend our condolences to many people, those in shloshim and those with yahrzeits, and if you'd like to rise upon hearing the name of the member of your family you're remembering, we want to know you're a mourner and support you. We extend our condolences to Christopher Belvedere on the death of his sister-in-law, Deborah, to Jennifer Conti on the death of her father, Herbert, to Stuart Gibson on the death of his wife, Adrian Gibson, and to Mara Gordon on the death of her grandmother, Mary Guggen Moss, to Marcia Mann on the death of her brother, Barry Lastic, to Brian Posner on the death of his mom, Ellen, and Lauren Rigby on the death of her father, Peter Rigby, to Hannah Rydell on the death of her grandfather, Joe Lewin, and Sandy Spector on the death of her dad, Steve Waldman, and Julie Walensky on the death of her father, Joseph Walensky. And to these names, we add the names of our members, their family members, whose yahrzeits are observed on the Shabbat. Robert Abrams and Florence Abrams, Ann Altman, Peter Aoki, Milton Bellavin, Anna Berman, Shirley Berman, Geraldine Blumenthal, Yetta Breitner, Audrey Brodsky, Lois Cohen, Charles Colby, Alan Serker, Joseph Davis, Israel Deutsch, Martha Evans, Anne and Joseph Evanter, Shepard Freed, Samuel and Mildred Gelber, Judith Gimbel, Jack Gintner, Bessie Gleischer, Sumner Gold, Betty Goldberg, Belle Goldstein, Lillian Gould, Irene Graffer, Harold Harris, Lars Haugland, Sylvia Height, Harry Hochstein, Marilyn Kylo, Lillian Keel, Sadie Kestenbaum, Peter Crone, Cy Kushner, David Lader, Mortimer Lipman, Harold Malone, Arthur Moses, Lawrence Nachberg, Lillian Palumbo, Harry Perlmutter, Jack Pettit, Lillian Pilzer, Helen Zuner Raphael, Anna Wright, David Rose, Barbara Rosenberg, Lori Rubin, Arthur Samberg, Richard Schiff, Daniel Schlesinger, Rose Schneider, Harry Seidel, Sarah Jean Shirk, David Smith, Marvin Sonoski, Eva Stock, Harry Vigoda, Benjamin Vugman, Anne Wasserstein, and Norman Werchowski. And if there is a name that someone you'd like to add to our list, I hope you'll rise to say that name, and if I mispronounce the name, I hope you'll please say it again, and we'll begin on this side of the room. Here. Thanks, Corey. We join you, our mourners. We want to support you. We stand with you to recite the Mourner's Kaddish. It's on page 294. 294. Yitgadal, v'yikadash shemei Rabbi, v'alma divrach hirute v'amlich malchute, v'chaye echon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach leolam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha birchu, leolam imkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imeru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and comfort, strength and love and support to everyone who is mourning, to everyone who is grieving here and everywhere, and let us say, amen. Won't you please be seated? Thank you to Karen Kaplan, who's here with us to offer some greetings on behalf of the leadership of the temple. Karen's the co-chair of our Adult Education Committee. Thank you, my friend. All yours.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi Schwartzman and Carol. Exquisite. Good evening, and welcome to everybody here in the sanctuary, and to those, I'm sort of looking into the, I don't know where to look, but I'm very glad to be here with all of you and welcome you on behalf of the Board of Directors. It's so nice to be here and to see everybody in these seats. We began, as people began to join us again in the sanctuary, with just a few seats. And each week the seats are full and more full and fuller, and it's just so fabulous to see people. I'm looking forward to seeing all of these seats full and greeting everybody. For those of you who are new to us, visiting, or just new members, a special and warm greeting. We're really very glad you're here. The evening is particularly special. One of my favorite photographs is of Rabbi Schwartzman on sabbatical in a lounging chair with water behind her. It was lovely. But the best picture of all is Rabbi Amy back on the bima, which is a very good place for her to be. It's a quiet weekend here, but I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening next week. Motors, Men of Temple Road of Shalom, is having a virtual happy hour Wednesday at 7 p.m., and everybody who joins them is encouraged to bring whatever virtually brings them happiness. So please do join them. And I don't know how many of you belong to or have joined one of our tents. If you haven't, I encourage you to. We have lots of tents now. They're marvelous ways of happily indulging some of your interests. There are 5 of them that are meeting this week. Let's see if I can do this. Humor Hounds, Netflix and Shitzel, Children of Holocaust Survivors, Movies, First You Watch and then We Talk, Today in Israel, Chair Yoga. If you are interested in any of these or want to explore the many others that we have, or you have some ideas about another one that you might like to start, please contact Sharon Sotsky Ramirez. she'll give you more information, and she's just so much fun to talk to. You'll like it. And because I'm up here and the hook hasn't come out yet, I want to add an advertisement. Those of us, well, all of us actually, have been really distressed about what has been happening in Israel and Palestine over the last month or so. We, the Israel Committee and the Adult Education Committee and the Temple have joined to create a unusual and very special symposium that's going to take place in October. The Israeli-Palestinian dilemma, moving beyond who's right and who's wrong. This symposium is going to take place over a 3-week period, 3 Sundays in a row, October 17th, 24th, and 31st. It is going to be a hybrid event, assuming that we have no further upsurge or problem with COVID. It will follow all of the COVID guidelines. And it will also be available to everybody here, and it's going to be available to Reform congregations around the country, so that it will be on a virtual conference platform, so that everybody will be able to participate on with all of the sessions on this conference platform. The nice part about that is that these will be taped and available to anybody who is a registered participant 24/7 for the duration of the 3-week, and then for 30 days thereafter. So you will be able to, for 3 weeks, see, hear, and hear again, if you wish, all of the things that will be going on. We have a roster of world-known people who will be speaking. We'll be featuring organizations that are demonstrating the possibilities of collaborative efforts on the ground, cultural activities. There'll be some interesting music and so on that goes on. There'll be a library. There'll be other surprises that go on. And it doesn't stop there.
We're 10 minutes over.
What?
We're 10 minutes over.
Okay, I will stop. The hook did come out. Maybe one more thing. For a mere $45, you can sign up now. You can register, and that's an early bird registration fee. Go to Connection or the e-newsletter and click on the link and learn about all the other things that are going on. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the weekend and stay well hydrated.
Yes. Karen, thank you. I will. It's going to be fabulous, but yes, we're going to keep going. We're going to end by making Kiddush, by singing a song, and we look forward to a time when we are safe enough to also be eating in the building. We're not quite there yet, but hang in there. We'll get there. And also, don't forget, in your e-letter last week, we talked a little bit about the high holidays, so start to put it on your radar. Kiddush is on page 5, and won't you rise? We'll make Kiddush, we'll sing a song, and a final blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah banu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon v'hinkilanu.
L'chaim. We end with Ein Kelohenu, which you might find funny to learn is the music of a German drinking song. The text is a Sephardic poem. The music is actually, do you know that? Think about just, throwing your beer around. Let's sing it.
But let me just say.
Unless we're singing a different version.
No, we are.
Oh.
We are. But this is a different, a setting that you may or may not have heard before. If you haven't, you will catch on very quickly, and I hope you'll sing
Okay,
along.
we're not singing the funny version. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's good. May our presence together be a source of joy. May we find happiness in the world. May we experience laughter. May our souls be lifted as we move our way from a very difficult year. Shabbat Shalom.